Hey guys, welcome back to Groovin Theory. This next course is going to be about passing notes. We as bass players use passing notes as a way of linking together chords to create a more melodic foundation. I mean, imagine if all bass lines were just the root note, music would get pretty boring. So passing notes create movement, flow and melody in bass lines to make the music more interesting. Passing notes don't just have to be used when moving to the next chord, they're often used when heading to the next bar of the same chord to keep the music flowing. Small warning for you guys, this course relies on a little bit more theory knowledge than the other courses, and it gets pretty nerdy. In this first piece, passing notes are used in a relatively simple way over a rather slow chord progression, but the bass line remains interesting and functional to the groove and the sound of the piece. This approach is mostly diatonic, which means that the notes stay in the key of the piece, which in this case is E flat major. By playing mostly diatonically, the bass line sounds safe and unobtrusive. Remember that my bass line is just an idea of how I might play the piece, and that you guys can play this through by reading through the chords. This way you can create your own bass lines and start developing more ideas of how to use passing notes when you play. Also, as more of an introduction to using passing notes, I really recommend you check out David Bowie's Moon Age Daydream, which shows how the bass gives the song a lot more energy from moving between the chords in even a simple way. I'm playing my Fender Jazz bass and cutting a little bit of treble and adding some bass to keep a flat but smooth sound that's not too aggressive. So now I'm going to analyse in more detail what's going on in this piece. I play lots around the 5th and 7th when playing over a minor chord to input some movement. For example, in bars 17 and 18, this is a really simple idea, yet you're reinforcing the harmony of the chord by using the minor 7. I also use very simple pentatonic ideas which are incredibly common in bass lines, which is to use the 5th and 6th when playing over a major chord. Look to bar 19 for this. You can find this 5th and 6th little rotation across all sides of music, and it's something I use a lot and will be using in the next passing notes piece as well. Another way of creating flow is to pass between chords whilst keeping this familiar tonality is to use small scale-it passages, which can be found in bars 32 and 40. As a player, you just have to know what key you're in and then move up or down the scale to the next chord with some sense of purpose, and you can easily create basic melody and flow. I touch very lightly on using a chromatic approach to move between chords, but I go far more in depth in the next two passing notes pieces. Moving between chords chromatically means that you use semitones or half steps, which can be simplified into climbing the frets on your bass. Now this is a less familiar and safe sound, but I use chromatic passing notes in this piece to raise melodic tension. For example, I do this at the end of a section to create tension so that the movement to the next chord is more significant. Find this chromatic approach in bars 10 and 22. Okay, so that's a simple but in-depth overview and beginning to using passing notes to spice up your bass lines. I hope this has given you guys new ideas of the way you can play between chords and get excited about your playing. Okay guys, check out the next video where I develop these ideas further and get a bit more advanced. Thanks for checking out Groove and Theory. Please like the video if you want more lessons like this one.